So we are moving to our account view model. I have restarted my Xcode. So right now our canvas is back and working properly. So let's start with our account view. Here we are going to need a form with some details that our user can put about himself, a button that we can save, and also on the top we will have a logout button whenever we have a local user. So let's do that. In our body, we are going to create a navigation stack and put a form in it. First thing I always do is add our navigation title, which is going to be account in our case. Actually, let's say my account. And let's also put some kind of emoji since we have started this with other views. I don't know, some kind of smiley. So this will be my account. Okay. And in our form, we are going to have two sections. Section 1 will be our text fields, and section 2 will be our button of save button. The reason I'm putting it in a section is it's very easy to disable or enable whatever is in this section. So we will have a button. This is going to, I don't know, save user details. And the label is going to be a text of, I don't know, save or create actually user. But the text is going to be dynamic depending on our user status. So whenever we have a user already kind of logged in, we have a user, we want to change the button to be update. And if we don't, we will have it as create. So for now, I'm just keeping a create, and in our section, I want to have an option to disable the section. So is it disabled? I'm going to say false for now, but this is going to be dynamic and depending on if our text fields are completed. So all the required fields are filled in, our button, which is in our section, will be enabled. Otherwise, it will be disabled, right? So the first section we with our text fields, let's put in this section actually some header. We have a title which is personal info. Okay, and we will have 3 text fields. To use text field, we need to have 2 things. We need to have a place, like a placeholder, and some kind of place to store our text. So our placeholder is going to be first name, and we need a binding string. So what I can do is option 1, I will put the things, our state binding strings here, and then we move it to our view model. Or option 2, we will go straight ahead and create a view model. So actually, let's go with the option 1, it's a little bit longer, but it's easier to understand. State var first name, or actually a name, is equals to empty string. And now I can say that this is a binding of the name. So whatever we put in this text field will be our name. So everything is, this is going to be address and a mobile. So now if I actually type something here, it will complete all 3 because all 3 of them are binding to the same variable. So let's have an address and mobile. Don't forget to put the $sign because we are binding them to each value. So now whenever I type, they are different. So each one is linked to a single variable. So right now, our account view, technically the visual part of it at least, is ready. We are going to create a view model that will actually check if these 3 are completely filled as they are required fields, then enable our button. And also, whenever we have a user object and we come to our account view, we want to automatically fill the user details inside our fields here so they are not empty. So I'm going to go to my domain here, and let's create a new Swift file next, and this is going to be our account view model. And let's create a final class, account view model, and this conforms to observable object protocol. Now I can go back to my account view. I will copy these 3 lines. I'm not cutting it yet. Account view model, and let's paste them here. Since this is an observable object, we are not going to use state here. Instead, we want to publish these changes. So we say at published var name, address, mobile. And then we have a func is invalid form. This returns Boolean. So if our form is invalid, then any of these 3 things should be empty, because all 3 fields are required. If some of them are empty, then automatically our form is invalid. So we will return name is empty, or address is empty, or mobile is empty. I don't use the return keyword because we have only one liner, and it's not required. So now if I go to my basket account view here, and account view, my section here, of course we need to get the, now we can put our view model here. So let's initialize it, and at state object private var view model is of type account view model, and we initialize one. And now we can come here, and instead of false we say view model dot is invalid form. Now automatically it turns to gray, because currently our form is invalid, because in our account view model all these 3 variables have empty strings, and we check if any of them are empty. The next thing we want to do is get rid of these and instead use our view model. So I will copy the view model. We just say $view model name, $view model address, $view model mobile number. So if I continue typing and put something here, now our button is enabled and disabled. So it's nice and dynamic. So this part is done. So we can now add some information to our account, but whenever we click on create, nothing happens, which is okay. One more thing I want to add to my account view model is a func. So in case if we have a user, if we pass a user to our account view, we want to populate this information here. So I will say setup user, and we pass a user in, which is a user object, and it's an optional. I will say name is equals to user question mark name, or if it's a nil, empty string. So we don't have any issues providing an empty string here. 2 more, we say address is user address, and mobile is user.mobile. So if we are passing nil here, so we don't have a user, it will just set it to empty string, our name, address, and mobile number. This is used whenever we log out. We will just pass a nil here, so it cleans out all the parameters that were filled in, right? So we need this function here. Now, in our account view, or in general, we need some kind of place that is going to take care of our user object, a local, because the reason I need to create something separate is that I want to save my user inside the keychain and not in user defaults, because the keychain is much better solution for what we need and also secure, unlike user defaults. So we are going to use a library that will help us save things and read from keychain, because by default it's quite a lot of code to do, and there are nice libraries to help us do that. And also we will use some kind of like user repository that is going to do like a loading from a keychain and showing our user much easier at the background, so we can access our user in our account view and also in our basket, because we want to have our user in our basket. Because remember, here we are passing our when we're creating an order, we are passing actually our dummy user in order to create our order. Let's see, where is it? Here, basket create order, and we are passing our dummy user when we want to pass our real local user, or a nil if there are no users. And then we won't be able to save anything to our we won't be able to create an order because there are no user information to pass.